As vice president, Trump will finally have the time to do the things that make him happiest. Talk about old movies, playing on his phone.
It's not going to go away. It doesn't magically get better. It doesn't suddenly, you don't wake up one morning and go, hey, I'm not a criminal anymore because he's a criminal.
Admiring the assets of other men. Meanwhile, President Musk can get down to the business of running the country.
What happens when a political ad hits so hard it turns a marriage upside down? The Lincoln Project didn't just get under Trump's skin, they apparently blew the lid off years of Melania's bottled up fury. While Donald was busy turning red and sweating through his suit, Melania was reportedly having a meltdown in her native tongue, tossing his precious MAGA merch around like yesterday's garbage. Separate bedrooms, Slovenian curse words, and flying red hats. This isn't just politics anymore, folks. It's a marriage imploding on prime time. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. So what exactly was in this Lincoln Project ad that got Trump so worked up?
We feel certain Trump will play his part because he's a good boy. Who's a good boy?
And a better perspective and a better persona and a better style of leadership than the man who led a conspiracy. This is the Donald Trump who has been found guilty and convicted of financial fraud.
Think of it as a psychological nuclear bomb designed specifically for Trump's ego. The Lincoln Project didn't just throw together some random criticism. They crafted what they called a greatest hits album of Trump's most humiliating moments. And boy, did they know their target. These political operatives understood something fundamental about Trump's psychology, that his greatest fear isn't losing an election or even legal trouble. His biggest terror is being laughed at. The ad portrayed him as Putin's useful fool and puppet. The words carefully chosen to exploit his well-known insecurity about appearing controlled by others. It's like they had a direct line to his nightmare factory.
We at the Lincoln Project are confident that Donald Trump understands his position.
That this Trump will be better than the man who tore the country apart, of ethical character, has been on display for every minute of his adult life. We know who he is.
What makes this particularly diabolical is how they delivered this psychological payload. They didn't just post it online and hope Trump would stumble across it while doom scrolling through social media. No, they paid good money to broadcast it in Washington, D.C., and this is the chef's kiss, in the local TV markets around Mar-a-Lago. They knew exactly when and where Trump watches television and made sure their message was waiting for him like a trap.
Admiring the assets of other men. Meanwhile, President Musk can get down to the business of running the country.
Willing to not accept the false predicates of, well, maybe Trump's better this time. There is no better iteration of Donald Trump. There is no moment of Donald Trump.
Imagine Trump, remote in hand, flipping channels during his regular TV time when suddenly he sees himself being mocked as Putin's puppet. According to insiders, his reaction was immediate and intense. His face apparently turned a bright tomato red shade, not the orange we're used to seeing, and he began sweating profusely. One source described him as being physically transformed by rage. The ad didn't just get under his skin, it crawled right into his brain and set up shop.
As vice president, Trump will finally have the time to do the things that make him happiest. Talk about old movies, playing on his phone.
There aren't hundreds of thousands of us. There are a few thousand of people from the old Republican world willing to speak the truth, limiting the power of the state and fiscal probity and all the things you would think.
Meanwhile, reports suggest Melania wasn't exactly providing a shoulder to cry on. Sources claim she was witnessed screaming in Slovenian, her native language that Trump definitely doesn't understand. Apparently, when Melania reverts to Slovenian, it's a clear sign the temperature in the Trump household has reached volcanic levels. She reportedly was seen throwing his precious MAGA hats across their Mar-a-Lago residence, a symbolic rejection of the very brand he's built his political identity around.
Was because his own base is starting to realize he's basically full of shit. But he's still a convicted felon, and it's a stain that will not wash out. He's busy jacking off about Greenland and invading Panama and invading Canada and making Canada the 51st state.
The Lincoln Project team knew Trump well enough to predict what would happen next. Like clockwork, Trump couldn't resist responding, and his reaction came in the form of late night, all caps, misspelled rants on Truth Social. One insider described these posts as a full-blown Category 5 hurricane of insecurity and rage. In an especially revealing moment, Trump misspelled Republicans as rhinos in one of his posts. Perhaps an accidental moment of self-awareness about the rhino, Republican in name only, accusations often thrown his way. These middle-of-the-night tantrums only validated what the ad claimed about his temperament and judgment. Trump essentially became his own worst enemy, amplifying the Lincoln Project's message far beyond what their budget could have achieved. It's like they handed him a megaphone and he gladly used it to broadcast his own meltdown.
He is a convicted felon and always will be. I wish they would have punished him. I wish they would have fined him. I wish they would have put him in jail for even 5 minutes. No governor of New York is ever going to pardon Donald J. Trump. He is a convicted felon forever.
The marital fallout appears to be significant. Multiple sources close to the couple claim they've been sleeping in separate bedrooms at Mar-a-Lago since the incident. This isn't exactly new behavior for the Trumps, who've long been rumored to maintain separate sleeping quarters, but the physical distance now apparently matches the emotional temperature between them. So much for the happy couple image they try to project for the cameras. What's fascinating about this whole episode is how precisely the Lincoln Project targeted Trump's 3 specific psychological vulnerabilities. First, his pathological fear of appearing weak, which the ad highlighted by showing moments where he seemed frail or ineffective.
Donald Trump has had a terrible, terrible week. Why has it been terrible? It's not going to go away. It doesn't magically get better. It doesn't suddenly, you don't wake up one morning and go, hey, I'm not a criminal anymore, because he's a criminal. While the court did not punish him, his conviction is now affirmed.
Second, his horror at being perceived as incompetent, showcased through clips of his biggest blunders. And third, his absolute terror of looking ridiculous, amplified by showing moments where he was the butt of jokes. The strategy worked to perfection. Trump's impulsive reaction transformed what would have been a limited-run advertisement into a viral sensation. By responding so dramatically, he essentially provided the Lincoln Project with millions in free publicity. Television networks and news outlets picked up the story, while social media users shared both the ad and Trump's meltdown responses. It's political judo at its finest, using your opponent's force against them. So what the Lincoln Project pulled off here wasn't just political trolling. They accidentally yanked the curtain back on a marriage that's apparently colder than a Slovenian winter. According to Anthony Scaramucci, who briefly worked as Trump's communications director, Melania has a profound, deep-seated hatred for her husband. Yikes. This isn't just a little marital tiff over who left the toilet seat up. The mooch described her feelings as an established benchmark for Trump hatred among insiders. Seems like that Slovenian screaming session wasn't just about one silly ad. Those MAGA hats were probably destined for the Mar-a-Lago trash heap long before the Lincoln Project came along.